And what's happening, everyone? It's Kev from Magpie 24/7, and welcome to another Magpie 24/7 podcast. It's been a ropey couple of weeks. We're just trying to find our feet a little bit, we're in terms of like scheduling and stuff, because we're gonna go every Thursday, but I think we've decided now every Monday. It's easier for us. I think it's better for you. You get the podcast sooner, because by the time you get to Thursday, you're already talking about next week. And yeah, I think Monday. I just want to start from the top and say Monday is definitely the place now for the Magpie 24/7 podcast.
Yeah. I think as with everything at the moment, mate.
The patience.
If I had fucking hair left, mate, honestly, it'd be ripped out. It would be ripped out, mate. Patience is the watchword. We don't want negativity for negativity's sake and stuff like that. But yeah, patience. It's everywhere. And that's the only song I could find with the word patience in. So yeah, I'm not a big Take That fan before anyone starts smashing me over the head with that particular one. But yes, I think at the moment it's like we brought the podcast back. Very, very positive episodes. Lots of positives to be able to speak about. The club doing great things. The change of ownership, the change of management, etc., etc. But like I said, things are requiring patience at the moment, and it's difficult. It's like, do you make a podcast as well, and then something breaks the next day, and it sort of like undoes that sort of stuff. And we're like everybody else. We were expecting an announcement to do with the manager, and it's just not come.
No, it's not, mate. And like, we didn't do a Palace one last week because we wanted to like really get an analysis on Graham Jones kind of thing, and it's like, these last two games, my God. I mean, defensively, we'll look a little bit better, but we've conceded 4 goals, Paul, and like we've picked up 1 point. And it's like we're very fucking fortunate to pick up a point against Crystal Palace, because Benteke should have had 4 in that game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it should have been out of sight. I mean, obviously, if you ask Paul Merson, we lost the game. If you ask Paul Merson, but we did actually get a draw out of it. And looking at the points per game total that we need to be looking at, I mean, I think it's something like 1.4 or 1.5 per game we need to be hitting if we realistically to try and stay up in the league. So a point there, you're thinking, yeah, it's there or thereabouts. Can we follow it up with, maybe a win? It was going to be always difficult against Chelsea, mate. European champions, Premier League leaders. They've got quality. They can afford to have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players out and still put out a team full of internationals and full of quality and oozing class. They've got a great manager and stuff as well. We always knew it was going to be difficult, but yeah, we were just all hoping with the a decent point on the road against Crystal Palace. I think we were all hoping that the crowd, the first game with no Bruce and no Ashley, the noise, the passion, the energy would maybe just pull Newcastle along and maybe try and get another point, or maybe try and get that elusive first win of the season. But you've just got to hope and pray, mate, that when this first win does come, that we can go on a little bit of a run, or hope that maybe a Dubravka coming back like he did last time. If you remember when he came back last time, he pulled off a string of absolutely fantastic saves last season when he came back after his injury. And Newcastle picked up, I think, 5 points from 3 games. We need a sort of similar sort of thing to happen when Dubravka comes back this time. But I think we were hopeful, we were optimistic we'd be able to maybe get 2 positive results. But one positive result against Crystal Palace, a decent point down there, because Vieira's got them playing decent stuff. Let's not forget that. They've got out and they've shown up Manchester City, but after the Chelsea game, on the whole, I think we're just sitting here a little bit deflated and sort of sitting there thinking, you've got 2 games, you've been given 2 games to go at, Graham, and what you should have done and the opportunities, maybe just go for it a little bit more and try to win one of them as opposed to not lose both of them. Because I think that's the mantra that he's sent them out with, maybe. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's gone a bit tits up in a crazy 10 minutes, which obviously we'll get to later in the podcast. But it comes back to that watchword and patience and stuff. But it's difficult, mate, when we've suffered 14 years of shit. And we've won the lottery, mate. We've won the lottery. We just can't cash the bastard ticket until January. So frustrating.
Yeah, I think Renty said something similar. Magpie channel, saying literally we're kind of cashing the check, and he's bang on. Like, I mean, we're just like we've got one miracle, and it's like it's just so frustrating. We can't like do anything about it because this current crop of players, mate, with the way they've been coached over the last couple of years, like the new owners coming in, I don't think they've kind of realised how big of a task they've actually undertook. Like, it's unshoveling 14 years of shit under Ashley, but also in a footballing sense, 2 years of shit under Bruce after unshovel as well.
With the same coaches, mate. And this is being papered over by some people. But Graham Jones is came in and he's taken on a different job title. It's gone up from an assistant coach to an interim, a caretaker manager. But he's still got Steve Castle there, mate. And if you listen to what people have said about Steve Bruce and his coaching team, that obviously these Steves have followed Steve Bruce around everywhere. The negativity, it'll still be hanging over. The saltiness from Steve Bruce being removed from position will still be hanging over. They know they've got no future at the football club. Graham Jones has got assurances, but if you look at his press conferences, has he ever said that the rest of Steve Castle has got any assurances? He hasn't. So they know, mate, that they're on borrowed time. They're just going through the motions. I can't imagine they can be as committed. And what we need is different coaches and a different manager in. So it's a different voice, it's a different system, it's different training, it's different preparation, it's different for nutrition, it's different sports science, it's different everything. Graham Jones, I think, has done a lot of fantastic things in the short time, mate. But how is he going to undo all the shit of 2 years? How is he going to undo it? Also, having to use Steve Castle. It's a difficult.
It's not going to happen, is it? Like
when I tie behind your back.
It's a very difficult job to take on, and Graham Jones has assurances to stay on, but at the same time, that really only puts it down to two names in terms of the manager search, which we'll probably get on to later on, the manager stuff. But I've got on my notes, like it's nice to see a positive press conference from a positive person like Graham Jones saying the right things about being a fan and stuff. It's great to see, but like, for me, it feels like the Joker's left the asylum and the inmates are kind of running it at the moment. And like,
that's a perfect analogy, that, mate.
I do like Graham Jones. He came in last season and he sorted a lot of shit out. He gave us a system that worked, and we had a great end of the season. And Steve Bruce won. He's one and only manager of the month in 20 years with that one.
Well, you know.
But like,
you have to pay off for that.
For me, it's like, I think the novelty of Graham Jones is kind of worn off among the players. It doesn't have the same kind of effect, and now they're just trying to make the best of a bad situation until comes in. But it's ultimately having the same effect, and going off these last two performances, Chelsea and Crystal Palace, like, I think we've had 5 shots on target over the 2 games, mate, and it took 80 minutes to get one against Chelsea. Like, we're very poor going forward. Our midfield is...
That's a huge...
Honestly, Paul, our midfield is fucking useless. It honestly, like, I've never known anything like it.
Don't be knocking Isaac's Hayden there, Kyle. Just be careful.
I like Isaacs, but the problem is I can't not see what I've seen in, like,
I know what you mean.
They don't look like they've played together, mate. Sean, Hayden, Fraser in the midfield, they look like they've never played together. I don't remember we're playing 3 passes together against Chelsea. The plan.
Why is Fraser though playing like a central midfield role? It's still some bizarre things. Emil Kraft, a right back, who's playing as a centre back. You've got
Shares on the bench and Fernandez.
Like Ryan Fraser. You've got him playing as a central midfielder when he's a winger, and you've only got to look back at the goals that they scored together down on the South Coast previously to know that, look, it would maybe better playing them further forward. You've only got to look at the assists. Matt Ritchie, I think, has played. Let's get right. he's a fantastic professional. I love Matt Ritchie, the character and everything else. He brings a lot to the table. Defensively, horrid. But if you look at his assists, he's one of the top assist providers in the league. Could we not look at playing him further forward? And I just think that, I think Graham Jones has continued on some of the problems of the previous regime. And I just think you've had an opportunity. You're a Newcastle United fan. You're given 2 games. You've got 2 free shots, as far as I'm concerned. Why not go a little bit more different? Why not try a different formation? Why not try some of the players who haven't been given much of a chance? I put a post up on our socials saying, why not play a Dubravka, a Fabian Schär, a Fernandes, an Elliot Anderson, a Joe White? Why not give Stevenson from the reserves? If you're not going to play Dwight Gale, if you're not going to give him any minutes, then try Stevenson, or try 2 up top. Let free Alan Saint-Maximin up to be an actual winger, a wide, tricky player. Bring Miggy back in. Try different stuff, because we've said it 100 times before on this podcast. The definition of insanity is trying the same things repeatedly and expecting different results. Try something new. Try something different. Let these lads try and play football, because you've had Steve Bruce who said they can't do this. They can't. Well, if you were against Steve Bruce, as has led to being believed, then take the shackles off, give them an opportunity. Say, look, you've got an opportunity against the best team in Europe to have a go and bloody their nose. Have a go. Don't be afraid to lose. The incentive should be to score goals and to win games. It shouldn't be just to sit there and cower and whimper. And I want Newcastle to try. If we'd have lost 3-0, mate, against Chelsea, we got a point previously against Crystal Palace, but we'd have had a bloody good goal, then, all well and good. And I just think that the Crystal Palace game was maybe, again, another trick where a new manager coming in, he hasn't half changed. He's gone for a different format. He's gone for 2 up top. He's gone for even a 4-4-2, something just totally left field. Or he's playing, Gale up front. Don't shoot me down, but even Joe Linton last season against Crystal Palace had a really good game playing up top alongside Callum Wilson. So maybe looking back at the history books and thinking, can he repeat that? I know Joe Linton's got a lot of detractors, me being one of them. But look, you've got to try different stuff. And it's just good, mate. I'm just a little... It's took a little bit of the sheen off. But listen, I'm still megally happy and excited for the future. And
100%.
100%. I'm totally behind Staveley. Staveley's asked for patience. As far as I'm concerned, she gets that patience off me. But it's I would like a little bit of communication on how things are going. We were told 2 games. 2 games have passed. Yet Graham Jones has took training today and he started preparations for the weekend. Stuff. But just a little bit good, because I think there has been a missed opportunity made. He could have tried something, tried to surprise these opposition managers. And I just think out of Crystal Palace and Chelsea at home, if we could have got 3 points and we could have got that absolute monkey off our back of getting the first win, it could have made all the difference. As it is made 6 points. 6 points could Adrift made at the bottom with hapless Norwich.
And that's the concern, mate. We're currently adrift. And I've known what to be in bad situations, but I've never known what to actually be 6 points adrift in any relegation battle we've ever been in. As bad as we were under McLaren, even Bruce last season, we were never 6 points adrift. So it's like we've got to solve a short-term problem straight away and get back into the lineup and stuff. Like, these lineups don't tell a story of a team trying to win a game of football. It looks like a team that's trying not to lose, as you said before. You know what I mean? These changes that aren't being made. Like, you've got a great attacking fullback in Jamal Lewis who can't get a game. Yet he's an attacking fullback and he would work in a wing-back system, but the persist with Matt Ritchie, and he's at the top of the creating chances boards, great, but he's probably conceded more. Do you know what I mean?
How many is he costing?
I'm not being funny, mate, but he couldn't mark a fucking bingo card, let alone a player. I love Matt Ritchie, mate. He runs every play to grass and he gets players to tell and he gives them a boot up the arse, but he's an absolute shadow of himself at fullback. Like, he really is. Like, it might even be worth just because he runs and puts a tackle in, has a bit of grit, playing him in the midfield over Fraser. Like, what? How he can't do any fucking worse? Do you know what I mean?
Mate,
Like,
the thing is,
pass,
totally agree.
Like,
totally agree.
He's not a centre midfield, but he's not a fucking left back either. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's got to, you've got to try something different. Play players in actual positions, and they might actually work for you. Like Emil Kraft, centre back. I mean, to be fair, we're playing Clark in his right position. I said this in January, mate. We need to put him out to pasture, and I'm not being proven wrong. He's getting worse. He's starting to remind us of Stephen Taylor in his last season for Newcastle. Absolute card horse, mate. Like, I really appreciate what Kieran Clark's done for Newcastle over the past couple of years, but he's really starting to become a liability, mate. And it's a massive insult when Fernandez, who's a solid rock at the back, I don't think he makes many mistakes, and Fabian Schär, who can actually, pass a ball more than 10 yards instead of lumping it up the field. Like, how is Lascelles, Emil Kraft and Clark getting in ahead of these players? To me, it's an insult, Paul, because Schär, what does Schär have to do to get a game? And how bad does Lascelles have to play to not get a game? Like, I'm not, like, in terms of his mobilisation under Raf Benitez, he used to shout and scream and fight players on the field. Now it just looks like he's just happy to pick up a wage, mate. There's no fight in him anymore.
Going through the motions, mate, isn't he? He's going through the motions a bit. I think at the moment, the thing is, if he wants to persevere with this three at the back system, right? And I've talked before about perhaps pushing more players forward. If we're not great defensively, let's try and score some fucking goals. Let's try and outscore some teams, and let's see if we can do it that way. So we've got a cracking striker in Callum Wilson, make no doubt about it. We've got Dwight Gale, who can score goals given chances, as per the chant. And even Stevenson coming up, he's got an eye for a goal. He's a decent prospect. So we've got players up there who can do it. St. Maximin, Miggy, etc. But I think if you're going to go free at the back, play three shithouses, and then have two really, really attacking fullbacks, and then fill out the central midfield with solid workman-like type players, and ask your attacking fullbacks to just go at it. Bomb at them. So get Lewis bombing forward. Not so much concentrating on the defensive side, because you've got central midfielders who will do that in front of the defence and be nice and compact. We should have Lewis bombing down one side. We could have Jacob Murphy bombing down the other side. And then, if you've scored a goal or two, then perhaps maybe change it as the game's going on, and bring on somebody who can just slot into one of the wing back roles and just be a little bit more defensive as the game's game's going on. But I just think if we were to play those two and just say, look, just bomb on for a bit and see, try something different. But we're not. We're just going with the same old, and they're coming out and they're saying the right things. But I'm just not seeing the conviction, like you said. I'm not seeing it on the park. I'm not seeing it in performances. Lascelles' form has continued to drop off remarkably. So I think Fabian Schär, especially when we've not got John Joe in the team, I think Fabian Schär's range of distribution is passing. He can also, mate, and again, I think this is something that's maybe been a little bit missed, but he can score a goal, which not all of our outfield players have got a tremendous record of doing. But you can put Schär in there, he might get you a goal. I thought Lascelles, he could have potentially scored last time out and stuff as well. I think his goal scoring record, he should be decent. He should be a nuisance how well he's built. He should be scoring more goals than what he is. And like you said, why are we playing a right back as one of three centre backs when you've got Schär and Fernandez? Fernandez has never let us down.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
He's saying he doesn't want him on. He's a player that you either start or you don't have in the squad, is what he's saying. So my point is, okay then, start him. Start him, because we aren't keeping clean sheets and you just continuing to persevere with the same personnel. It's the same argument for Darlow, mate. I think as soon as Dubravka's back, like he did last season, he got really, really creaky when he saw the fact that Dubravka was back. We need Dubravka's presence. We need his command of the box. We need his extra shot stopping. I think he's better all around. I like Karl Darlow. I like him as a player and a man. I think he's a cracking number 2 for the football club. I really do. But we need Martin Dubravka back straight away. We need Fernandez back urgently. We need Fabian Schär to be put in there. Lascelles needs the right act read to him. It really does. And I just think, mate, look, at the end of the day, these players know we've been taken over. They know the financial situation. They know
right to be on the wall for all of them.
So why don't they, mate? Why aren't they putting in a double shift to say, look, I want to be part of this. I don't want to be transferred to a Watford or a Fulham or somebody else like that. No disrespect to those clubs. They were just the first 2 that came to mind. But, I would want to be part of the revolution. If they don't pull the fingers, they aren't going to be part of it, because these have got the power to be able to say, I'm getting rid of 20 players. Bye. See you later. And it sounds extreme, but they could physically do that. They could replace the entirety of the squad if they were to choose so. But you know what? If you show a little bit of heart and battle in spirit and usefulness to the cause at the moment, I think Staveley and everybody are the sort of people who would reward you and be loyal to you. And certainly over the next couple of seasons, give you an opportunity to continue on with Newcastle as we start to integrate in better and better players and try to build something, mate. So I'm looking for these players to really, really show up and to show that they want to be part of Newcastle United's exciting new future. But at the moment, I'm looking, and like you said, even with Hayden is a classic example, he's gone a little bit see-through. I know Sean Longstaff has had some issues recently with his mental health, and I don't know whether that's coming into it. I know he's sought help and he's been speaking to counsellors and stuff. And you see little glimpses, and you think, go on, Sean, go on, lad. We need that Sean Longstaff back pre-Bruce. There was so much excitement, mate. Both we were going in there, and he was one of the first players that me and you used to speak about. Now it's like 20 minutes in, and we'll say, Sean played it. Has he touched the ball? And it's that sort of conversations, and you want to be positive, mate. But I just say to the lads, come on, show us a little bit something. We need an extra 5-10% from you. But I agree with what Ian Jones said, mate. We need different voices in the dressing room. It's the same voices that they've heard time and time. It's Steve Castle.
It needs an overhaul, mate. You're right. There's so many players that have been devoid of any coaching last couple of years. You can name so many players.
Yeah. Why not bring Shearer, mate? Shearer's about right. He's just doing TV and stuff. Why can't he get him in and do a day or two's coaching on something, working with the strikers, working with Stevenson, working with Dwight Gill? Look, Shearer's gone through periods of his game when he's done not the best that he can do. I remember Bobby Robson coming in and telling Shearer, look, you've got your back to goal all the time. Turn around and look at that goal. I want you in the ball. I want you making these runs and stuff. Why can't we? We've got a wealth of amazing ex-players. Look at the first game back after we were bought over. You had John Beresford, you had Rob Lee, you had, was it Gillespie?
Yeah.
Gillespie, I've seen there. You had David Ginola. You've had Shearer in there, I've seen pictured. So you've got all these fantastic ex-professionals. You've got Malcolm MacDonald, who was up in one of the boxes. Get Malcolm MacDonald coming down. Give him a little bit of a pep talk before they go out. Just try something different. Try something different. You've got so much, mate. The thing is, there's so much goodwill from the terraces. There's so much goodwill from ex-pros who haven't been there in fucking ages under Ashley, who have come back. Just tap into a little bit of that, and then speed up the recruitment process. Speed up putting the new corporate team in place, the new footballing team in place, the new coaches. But tap into what you've got. You're not telling me that Rob Lee sitting down with Sean Longstaff can't be beneficial to the lad, because it must be. I'd love to sit down and listen to Rob Lee talk football, talk tactics. I'd love to be able to hear David Ginola. David Ginola, can't you get him on the training pitch again? If you're working with a St. Maximin or somebody like that, it's got to lift the players up, mate. Yeah. It's got to try something else. But I just thought, look, they're all stood round there doing now. Just desperate for something, because I know people are saying, look, if we get relegated, we'll come back up, blah, blah. I don't want to get relegated, mate.
No, I want to stay in the Premier League.
Stay in the Premier League.
Next season, have a good go of the transfer market, because it sets us back 2 or 3 years if we go down to the Championship. And that's a good point to make. I was going to ask it like later on the podcast, but I might as well bring it up now since we're talking about it. But a lot of people are saying relegation would give us a good chance to rebuild and let the owner sort out the situation. But at the same time, I don't think they have plans to get relegated. And to be honest, like you said, I don't think relegation is the right answer, because the Championship is a hard league to get out of, and would have to. That current team right now, barring Maxie and Wilson being able to score the goals, it's not Championship level, mate.
No.
That defense at the minute would not get through the Championship. That midfield would not get into the Championship either.
Are you telling me Maxie'd stay in the Championship? Because
Maxie wouldn't stay in the Championship. He'd piss all over it. He's got 40 goals.
Callum Wilson, I don't think would stay around. So you'd lose Wilson. You're going to lose your better players. You're going to lose Wilson. You're going to lose St. Maximin.
You'd lose Dubravka.
You lose Dubravka. And those, I mean, you're scratching around after then, aren't you? You really, really are. You'd lose Miggy. I don't think Miggy would end up staying as well. And then the players that you've got left are the likes of Paul Dummett, who's consistently and continuously injured despite using up a squad place. Hasn't played this season since pre-season. Only played 16 times last season. We've got lots of players like this. I mean, I was screaming out. If I had a fit Paul Dummett at the moment, I'd throw Paul Dummett in.
100%. Dummett will be in the team. No problem.
He's just not seemingly fit, and you think, oh, he's getting back to fitness. You receive positive information from Bruce or whoever previously, and then all of a sudden, he's nowhere to be seen. He's still a couple of weeks away before he's back on the park, but before he's back on the grass. It's just a difficult situation, but that's what I'm saying. I think we need to just tap into different things and try and think about things in different ways, and ultimately then Staveley and the rest of the consortium. And I know our chairman's not been very well, has he? He's been suffering from COVID, and that's probably, again, not helped. But they've got to understand, mate, that in business, you take your time and you make the right appointments. In football, you need to have a clear plan and vision, and this is how we're going to play and this is how we're going to operate. And I understand that's all getting put in at the moment, and that's fantastic. I'm excited about it. But, mate, we need a couple of short-term quick fixes, and one definitely being the manager. Look, Spurs have sacked Nuno today after, 4 months, which I find is shocking, may I just say. There are a couple of points off the European places, the 8th in the league or whatever.
No. Paul, he's a nice man.
He has. And they've just got rid of him.
No, but he's a nice man.
He's been fired. He is such a nice man. Such a nice man. But
that's a disgrace.
Conte's coming in this evening for advanced talks with Spurs. So that's less than 24 hours. Now, I don't for a second want us to be anything like Daniel Levy and Spurs, because
I mean, that's terrible treatment of a nice man, Paul.
It is.
Replacing him and hounding him out. I mean, that is so bad.
The bastards booed him.
Terrible.
I know.
They threatened his family and called him really bad names.
Well, that'll be coming out shortly, whether they've done it or not. But it's just goes to show you, mate, though, the speed. I mean, the Premier League this day, I mean, you look at Watford, they've got a revolving door. Spurs, they've got a revolving door. At Newcastle, I think we are trying to do it a different way, and I want my football club to take informed, careful decisions and plan stuff out and stuff. If it had been the summer that this had gone through, I wouldn't be sitting here slightly stressed trying to pull out what little hair I've got left. But we're balls deep, made into a relegation battle, and we are in a relegation battle. And
looking down the barrel as well.
Yeah, every game that goes past is one. It's just one more rung on. I think we're something like the 16th worst team at this stage in history, and we've done it before. We've got out of similar situations before, but I would just say that when we've done this previously, we've played virtually all the top teams, and that's why we were in that position, and we had some favourable matches coming up. Yes, we've got a couple of, on paper, decent looking games coming up, but it's not in the same quantity as what we've had previously. So the pressure is on, mate. The pressure's on the players. The pressure is on the coaches, or, it should be on the coaches. I think some of the coaches are ready for their payoff and ready to go into the sunset, a bit like Bruce. The pressure has to be on the consortium. They know they've got to get it right. I don't, mate. If we go down, we're going to have another season where we've got to recruit the likes of Grant Hanley 2.0, Leon Best 2.0, and then you get promoted, hopefully, touch wood, and then you've got to get rid of all those players, and then you're trying to persuade potentially fantastic players to come in to a newly promoted team. I don't know. I just think we need to stave off relegation. And also, mate, as well, it will be the laughing stock. At the moment, it's already, the league leaders versus the richest club in the world. Well, that may be technically right, but we all know that the players who are on the pitch at the moment don't represent the new ownership and this, that, and the other. So it's the media against us, opposition fans, which you only have to see in the Selhurst Park crowd, are against us. Everybody wants us to fail, mate. We just can't. We can't give them what they want, and I can't wait till the day that we are, hopefully, very shortly, able to put up a heck of a lot more of a
team
fight,
on the
start getting a few wins, and just to start building a few noses back.
Because that's a good point, mate. I mean, like, we're in the shit at the minute, and we're gonna have to drag our way out of it. And the question is, because the last two games is evidence clearly that the old coaching team need to go. Obviously, Graham Jones can offer some insight, and has a good relationship with most of the team, barring he's scrapped with Dwight Gale. Barring that, he's got a good relationship with the players, so that's good. But we need a new manager, and we need one quickly. But the question is, like, with the 10 games I think we've got left between now and the January transfer window, can we get to January being in touch with the rest? Because we're already 6 points adrift. Like, if we can get to January and we're 15, 20 points adrift, there's no one going to want to join to try and get 10 wins out the last 15 games. It's not going to happen. Like, you've
got to be real, haven't you, mate? You've got to be real. These players have to start producing the goods. They played fantastic. They paid fantastically well. They're loved by the fans. They're idolised by the fans, and they've got to give a little something back. We have got fixtures coming up, mate, where we should be able to get points, mate. But look, to win a football match, mate, you've got to create chances. To win a football match, you need to be taking shots at goal. Yeah, you need to be scoring goals. You need to have the right players fit in the right positions. So we can't be messing around, but we've got to actually play some football. We've got to trust these lads. They're professional footballers. They should want to play football. Instead, you see them stood there and they're jumping up on the fucking spot, 3 of them. And it's just like, I totally get the quality of the opposition, that even week in and week out they are playing. It's such a high level. It's so hard. But we've seen that these players, these are the same players, mate, we've had for so long. They can do it. It's about organisation. Look at how Rafa used to micromanage each and every one of them. You used to have Lascelles screaming all the time. Rafa from the side screaming. You've just scored a goal. No, I want you to do this. This is how I want you to improve. This is how I want you to play the next 10 minutes of this game. I don't want you to make these runs. I want you to make this runs. I want you to pass in this certain, I want us to be really compact for the next 10 minutes. You would micromanage every little section and chunk of the football game. And we need some of that micromanagement. We need coaches, really, don't we? We do. We need some quality out there. All the other things, mate, are so exciting about the future. Potentially a new training ground. Potentially St James's Park expanded. Potentially fantastic. We got a link today with Van der Beek and players like that. We've been linked with so many players and stuff like this. It's all so exciting, but then you look at the current predicament and then you look 6 points drift. Look, if we go away this weekend, mate, and get a victory over Brighton, and then Leeds fluff the lines, and then we do something in the following game against Brentford at St James's Park, things can look really different really, really quickly. It's not all doom and gloom. There's ways to get out of this really, really quickly, but it starts with the players having more than 21% possession. It starts with creating more chances. It starts with creating more chances, taking more shots at goal, scoring more goals. It's not going to be through, let's try and keep it tight. And I understand we've not kept a clean sheet all season. We've not kept a clean sheet while Dubravka has been away, really, this season. But we've got Dubravka coming back. We've got some cracking players across the park. We've got a couple of players who are bang out of form. But form is temporary. Class is surely permanent. So can we not get something more out of them? Can we not play, give, like we said before, play a compact couple in central midfield, because we saw terrible play your three at the back if that's what you want to do, but just go ahead and have those really tight, compact shape at the back to protect us, but then just bomb on with Jacob Murphy, who's got a goal in him, he's got a cross in him, he's got pace. Jamal, mate, Liverpool were after him. Liverpool were desperate for him. So there is a player there, mate. There's a player that is international. You've got a Swiss international, mate, sat on the bench doing fuck all. And I just think
it's just a case of playing to our strengths, mate. Like, obviously, I'm not a football manager or anything. I'm just a fucking average Joe. You know what I mean? But like, for me, it's clear as day what our strengths are, and that's what wing play. But we don't play with wingers. We'll play flat free in midfield with no energy, hoping to put the ball with Maximin, who was at the weekend facing Rudiger, who's double his height, so he's going to win in the air, no problem at all. Like. Because obviously we've got to get to January. In a short-term case, we've got to get to January so we can buy some players. As obviously we've been linked with Van der Beek, we've been linked with Tony Kroos, we've been linked with everyone. But like, none of them are realistically going to come to Newcastle if we're 10 points adrift come the end of December. Like, against Chelsea, we showed absolutely nothing at all. We didn't want to compete with Chelsea. We stood off them. They played well for 10 minutes and they scored. They ran off Lascelles, they ran off Clark. They made it very easy. So these players, like you say, have got to go up and work great. And like you've mentioned a couple of the young'uns. For me, it might be worth bringing them in, some of the defenders, some of the midfielders, because Paul, they can't do any worse. The current team look devoid of ideas, look devoid of any effort, they're not. They just don't look present. And the last two home games I've been to, atmosphere-wise, have been absolutely insane. And they're not going up that extra level. They're not closing down the play. They're not trying to close down Chelsea, the opposition. They were just happy to sit in their own half, and it's just too comfortable for me. Like, they've got to try and make something happen. Like,
even previously, mate, prior to that, the tactic of get the ball and hit it towards Joe Linton and let Joe Linton win the header, but then lose possession constantly. And it's like, goodness me, we've barely got a plan A, never mind plan B, C, D, or E. And we have gone from a micromanager in Rafa Benitez to a back to Steve Bruce, to now we've got a situation where we've got the majority of the coaching team, obviously that's Steve Castle, who know they are going to be out of a job. They couldn't be asked. They want their payoff. They want to go and watch cricket in Dubai. They want to fuck off and get ready for the next opportunity when Steve Bruce phones up and says, "Lads, I've been contacted by a football club in League One," or something like that. So they want that. They want their payoff. They've seen Steve Bruce get an £8 million payoff. They will want their payoff, and I just don't think the hearts and stuff are in it. And that's why I was talking before about using the ex-pros of the club and stuff like that. It's at the moment, it's all hands on deck. And I'm sure that if the club went and approached these players, I can spend a day or two. I can come up and I can do some work with a Rob Lee could do work with a Sean Longstaff. Something like that, just to get it in. Even players like Jeremy, even Jeremy's been in the paper, mate, saying, "Look, I'll come up and help you in the interim. I'll do it for charge." These are players, mate. These are ex-players who've come from all around the world, who've got the bug. They've been bitten by the Newcastle United bug, and they want the best for the club. And I just think that some of these players speaking to these lads I don't know. They might get an extra 5%, but it's that extra 5% that might just keep us in the fight.
With Jeremy, like I remember Jeremy when he played for Newcastle. No, thanks. I'll take his advice and and go down the A1 where Steve Bruce is like. But no, not Jeremy. I'll take a Rob Lee. I'll take a David Ginola, David Batty, any of them. But Jeremy can hit the road. Like
it is good though. Like how so many ex-professionals though have come out of the woodwork. It's fantastic to see. Because that's what we want our club to be about community. We want it to be like a family. And I've talked before, both on Magpie 24/7 and previously on Newcastle Fans TV, about a Geordie DNA. And I'm really, really passionate about that. It should be that family ethos and stuff like that. So, getting in ex-professionals into roles, into an ambassador, into doing a little bit of coaching work. And wouldn't it be fantastic for a Stevenson if he got a day's coaching of Alan Shearer? What's that going to do for you? What's it going to make you feel like if you're a Callum Wilson even sat and you're getting coached off Alan Shearer? It's little things like that. It might just give them a little bit of a boost, a little bit of a lift. It's looking for different advantages. Couple that with some formation changes. Fuck me. Work on some set pieces, please. Oh, Lord. Some fucker at the club, work on some set pieces because we are awful at corners. We are terrible at free kicks. We can't beat the first bastard man.
We're terrible at passing as well. Over those 2 games, mate, I don't think we've put the ball, like, passes-wise, 5 times.
Yeah.
I don't think they've strung 5 passes together. Like,
and they're capable, mate. Look. I mean, Alan St-Maximin, who wouldn't want him in from the rest of the competition? Who wouldn't want him in the team? Callum Wilson. I think he could go to any of the top teams, the really, really top elite big teams, as we've been told previously, and he would make them better. He would make them better. There's no doubt about it. These are good players. Sean Longstaff, not long ago, was getting linked with 30-40 million pound transfers to Manchester United. Isaac Hayden was on the cusp, we all felt, not too long ago, of an England call-up. We were all saying it. And anybody says they weren't is lying. Jamal Lascelles, again, there was talk about England call-ups and stuff at some point. So these are players who have it in them. They've just been bruised, and we've got to unbruise them. But you can't unbruise them with Bruce's mates coaching them. Unfortunately, that's just how I feel. And the pressure is on, mate. We need. You kept thinking even after the weekend before, there's got to be an announcement this weekend. There's got to be communication by the club and stuff, and there just hasn't been. And I appreciate totally, like, everything's a fucking mess at Newcastle. There's been so many small little companies set up, and it's going to take a lot of sorting out. And I really feel for the new owners and stuff coming in, and they've got nothing but my admiration and respect.
Yeah, but they're going to
need them to make the managerial appointment and the coaching appointment. They need to make it like yesterday. It's been it's 2 and a bit weeks now. It feels like a lifetime. It really, really does.
Yeah.
But I would just plead with them to make a sensible decision. And I think whoever it is, mate, look, it's like the Wheel of Bastard Fortune. Whoever is the next favourite at the bookies and stuff like that, whether it's Martinez or whether it's Unai Emery, the next Arsenal boss, whether it's Fonseca, whether it's that Favre, whether it's Eddie Howe, whoever it is, mate, we're all going to get behind him. 1,000,000% we'll be behind him. Yeah. The positivity, everybody will be behind the person that they pick. Everybody's behind Staveley in the consortium from inside the club. Yes, there's all the hate from the outside and all the noise and this, that, and the other, and people trying to mix politics and football up, which never particularly works. But whoever it is, mate, we're going to give them 100%, and it's got to be better than Steve Bruce and Steve Castle, mate. It's got to be.
It can't be any worse, mate. Let's be honest in terms of a coaching standpoint.
Nah.
But before we're going to the manager stuff, because obviously there's so many names being spoke about, I don't think the media can make heads or tails of it, or nor can the bookies, because that's a surprise.
The bookies.
There's a surprise popping up 1 minute and then someone else and then someone else's name and then someone's nailed on for the job and then all of a sudden not. But we'll get to that in a minute. But in terms of between now and January, formation wise, with this current set of players, mate, how would you look to set up? Because for me, we don't have much quality in the midfield. It's clear as day. So the next best thing, you are.
It might be. Let's try to get this on the camera. It might be Rafa Benitez. Yeah, it's the Wolves are beating them 2-0 at the moment, so it might even be Rafa, which obviously was always their number one target, wasn't it? But obviously Rafa's going to be getting even more hate from the Evertonians if that result stays the same. It's 2-0 just at half time to Wolves. They're away. It's a big one, mate, and how they're set up, because I just think, mate, he had a free hit against Chelsea. Nobody expected him to do jack shit against Chelsea. I would have liked to have seen him go for it a little bit more. You're a Geordie. You've got 50,000 Geordies behind you. Nobody would think any different of you, mate. But I tell you what, I'd give you major respect for changing it up and for going at it and saying, look, I tried, lads, I tried. I see what he was trying to do, keep it tight for 65 minutes and then bring on some flair players and stuff. But I just don't think we've got the squad to be able to, well, we'll keep it tight for 65 minutes and we'll bring these players on and we'll win it. I just don't think I think we've got to play our best players possible. I want to see Dubravka back. I want to see Cher back. I want to see Fernandez back. I want to see Lewis given a try. I want to see Jacob Murphy back in, because when he's played, yes, he's had 1 or 2 dodgy performances, but he's also had 1 or 2 very good performances, and he's got a goal in him. So I would like to see that. The midfield is really, really difficult because, let's face it, we've just got not a great deal and a lot of much of a muchness in, but we've certainly got Joe Willock, who I think, yes, he hasn't had much pre-season. I understand you took him out to protect him a little bit, but he's a £25 million player and he's a potential game difference type player.
You've got to give him that.
I would want him to be involved, and I would like to see 2 up front. I'd like to see Dwight Gill be given a chance, because he's not the world's best. I think we all know that. But look, last campaign when he was brought back in after the restart, and he went on a little bit of a run, mate. He's got that in him. So yeah, and I'd like to see St. Maximin played as an actual winger and out wide as opposed to as a central striker. Because I think he gets kicked lumps out of him, and I don't think we've seen the best of him recently. I think he's really dropped off because he's we're that far. We need pushed up, and we just can't have him just literally getting kicked all the time. He's got to have a little bit of a free roll, starting from out wide. And I also think as well, Miggy coming back in for his work rate, not only going forward and his drive and determination and this, that, and the other, but his ability to run backwards a little bit more, which again I think we've missed. I'm not saying he's perfect, Miggy, but I'm a big fan of Miggy and stuff as well. So I'd like to see Miggy back in, and I look, if he's going to persevere with a 5 at the back, I would like to see Cher, Fernandez, and I think you've got to keep Lascelles in, because who else have you got? Let's be honest. So I think them 3. I think the wing backs, I'd like to see them changed up, and I'd also like to see Matt Ritchie play at least some of the game in his traditional attacking midfielder post. If he can create chances, mate, from defence, can he do even more if he's pushed further forward? And you've not got the liability at the back, which, as much as we like, I think we're both Matt Ritchie fans. We love Matt Ritchie, but every opposition manager just knows, get at Newcastle's fullbacks, you'll get crosses in, and you'll create chances. And you can't afford, mate, at this league. I don't care if you're playing Brentford, Watford, Chelsea, Manchester United, Liverpool. Everyone, they've got quality players in, mate, who can punish you. So we can't afford to take the foot off the gas. So yeah, make those changes. I'd like to see a change of formation. I'd like to go to 4 at the back. I'd like to push extra bodies forward. I'd like us to create more. I'd like us to score more and to try and outscore some of these games coming up. Because if we sit back for 65, 70 minutes against Norwich, mate, look, the pre-season game was a classic example of that. Yes, it come good in the end, but it shouldn't be so squeaky bum all the time.
No.
Let these lads play football and let's see what they're made of. Let's try something different, mate.
Well, I agree with that, and I've thought a little bit about this, to be fair, and I'd kind of go with this. I'd go for 4-2-3-1. I'd play a back four of Manquillo, Shea, Fernandez, and then I'll bring in Jamal Lewis at left back. I think we've got to go for back four. I think the midfield, there's not enough energy in the midfield to warrant playing a flat three. They don't offer anything. It's no good playing Fraser as a centre midfielder, because for us, like, if he's a centre midfielder, I'm an astronaut. Like, he's not a midfielder. For me, we haven't got quality in the midfield, so I would go with energy. I would go and get Matty Longstaff from Aberdeen. He's doing well at Aberdeen. I'd go and get him back, because he offers a bit of energy, something the midfield does not have currently. I'd put Joe Willock next to him in the midfield as your two midfielders. If one of them is not fit for whatever reason, I'd go with Hayden. And then further forward, I'd probably have Maximin in his actual position on the wing. I'd have Fraser on the wing. You've got options and Murphy in that as well. You play to your strengths, the wide players. Miggy in his actual position in the number 10, which he's been at his best for Newcastle. It makes sense.
Plus, and internationally as well, mate.
He's got the work rate to get back and help those midfielders when they need it. So you've got a triangle three of Willock, Matty Longstaff, and Miggy, and then you've got a midfield three that can run, can get amongst it in the midfield. Willock can pass well. He proved that against Aston Villa. Matty can get in between the lines well and tackle. So you've got a midfield. You've got a foundation there of energy, trying to get forward and trying to cause something the other midfielders just cannot do. They haven't got the energy. Then you've got your pace on the wings with Murphy or Maximin or Fraser. Go with whatever one you want. Each of the three of them will make a difference. Or even go with Matt Ritchie.
I'm getting ready for Joe Linton up top in this.
Yeah, I wouldn't go with Joe Linton. But like, you can have Matt Ritchie who can cross a ball. You can go with Murphy. You can go with Fraser. You can go with Maxi. Go with any of the four, mate. There's 4 decent wingers there. Use them. Stop playing this centre midfield shit, because it's not fucking working, and it will never work until the cows come home. So you've got to play with wingers. That's what I would go with. And then up front, you've got Callum Wilson, an easy number 9. If you get him service, he'll get you goals. He's had no service this season, and he's still scored 4 goals and 6 starts. So what you waiting for? Get him the ball, and he'll get you goals. And even then, if you kind of get him in and he's injured for whatever reason, you can alternate. You can play Joe Linton, and even with the wingers in behind causing problems, you get him service. Or even if you don't want to go with Joe Linton, if that's too much of a risk, you go with Dwight Gale, and I think he's a solid option if you give him service. He's a goal poacher. He can get you a couple of goals a season. So
again, he needs crosses, mate. He needs those crosses, and that's what you're saying. Wing play, fire some bloody crosses in. Some of the time, and it's so frustrating, mate, because like for us at St James's Park, pre-game they work on firing crosses in and getting on the end of chances. Yet during the game, they don't get out wide. They don't get the crosses in enough. Look at that goal, mate, against Spurs, the Callum Wilson one. Fuck me. Perfect. Get the ball out. Get it into the danger area. And Callum Wilson, 9 times out of 10, will do the rest, mate.
He will.
Yeah, I totally would agree with that formation. And again, you're changing it up, mate. You're changing it up. You're not going for what's failing us time and time again. And you know what? Some of them players that you would have to take out and then probably bench, realise that there is standards and there is expectations. We've got Jamal Lewis. We had Jamal Lascelles come out recently and said it's difficult to play at St James's Park and this, that, and the other. You know what? The thing is, when the players are all given the most, you look at these last 2 games, you've got you can see there's an owner that cares. I think Graham Jones is passionate about the club and the city. You tell that he cares. Look, the positive energy made from the crowd coming down to the pitch, if that doesn't get the hairs on the back of your neck standing up and make you feel an inch or 2 taller, and if that doesn't get you an extra 5-10%, I just don't think you should be playing football. It's an amazing place to be able to play football. 52,000 crammed in, every box sold out, every seat sold out. You've got to take that energy and use it as a positive vessel to be able to scare the opposition, to get forward. But at the moment, mate, we're just a joke, because how many times you'll sit there and you go, look, again, we've conceded the same goal. The goals that we concede, you can look at the game and you can say, look, well, we conceded that goal against Southampton, we conceded that exact same goal against West Ham, and so on and so forth. It's a copy job all of the time. We have been found out by other managers, but just remember, look at David Moyes, look at Vieira, look at Potter. What a manager coming in with new coaching ideas and new strategy and playing players in different places, what they can do. Don't give up hope. We can turn this around. If a Vieira can come in and change around Hodgson Ball in no time at all, if Potter can come in and do what he's done with Brighton, getting them, really quite far up the table, if, these players can come in and so if these managers can come in and have that much of an effect, if we make the right recruitment choices now, don't give up hope. We can still survive.
We can.
We can. We don't do very well down at Brighton. We haven't got more Diame to absolutely muller them, right? We haven't got
Diame. Can't get him.
But do you know what I mean? I'm certainly not giving up hope. I'm certainly really, really positive.
But they've got to make the right decision
in the past 2 weeks. We've missed an opportunity, but at the same time, there's lots of reasons to be positive about the future. Ignore the saltiness from the other fans. A lot of it's jealousy. Even the reporters think about who they support, what their angle is, this, that, and the other, mate. There's room for optimism. We've got a game this weekend. We don't do well down at Brighton, but mate, who's to say that we couldn't pull a result out? The other teams lose and we knock that gap down to 3 points, and then we've got the game against Brentford coming up at home, which, with the greatest of respect, we should be targeting 3 points on. We've got Norwich coming up. We've got, things could look a lot better very, very quickly. So don't give up hope and remain positive. But let's hope that some of these things that we've discussed today are certainly going through the mind and the thoughts of Graham Jones, and he's trying to perhaps think, look, it hasn't worked so far. What can I do that's a little bit different? To give, it'll be another sold out away and down at Brighton at the weekend, and then send the Newcastle fans into the international break with at least a point, hopefully with 3 points, get the monkey off our back.
Now we need 3 now.
Come in.
I don't think one's enough.
3 points, aren't we?
If we draw and teams above we pick up 3 points again, it's 8. Could be 8, 9 points at the weekend, and that's crazy. They've got to win, man. They've got to win no matter what. They've got to win the game.
Yeah, I just think that there still is lots of things to be positive and hopeful about. So,
in the grand scheme of things, that's a Christmas present in itself for the next 10, 20 years. But like in the short term, can this Newcastle team stay up? Because it's currently an absolute mess, and it's like we need to get to January in a situation where we can sign a couple of players to be enough to take over the line and to get onto the manager search, mate. There's so many names being linked. Benitez obviously has been linked. He seems to be the one that they're not giving up hope on, according to reports. Fonseca, Eddie Howe, Den Haag at Ajax, Favre, Gerrard, Lampard, Unai Emery, Roberto Martinez, Nuno has been sacked. Like there's so many names that's been linked. The media don't know what's going on. Like the bookies don't know who to go for. This is very under wraps. Like
it is, isn't it? It's very unusual for the bookies, mate, to not know what is going on, and you get claim on social media, or Unai Emery is the favourite, and then literally a couple of hours later that gets debunked. Roberto Martinez is the favourite. He's only a £2 million compensation payout. That then gets debunked, so on and so forth. I've never known a managerial thing like it. Look at Spurs today. They sacked the manager. They get rid of Nuno. They're going to be bringing in Conte within literally probably the space of 48 hours. We are looking to do this definitely differently. And I think the fan base is still carrying the frustrations of the previous ownership with them, but it's so difficult. We try to bring you what's out there at the moment, what is the current news or rumor or speculation or anything else like that. But The truth of the matter is, mate, it could be any one of them or somebody totally left field. I mean, there was the Saudi lad who was linked, wasn't it? And that turned out to be a hoax from some Leeds supporters. I think NUFC 360 reported it, and then it was found out to be that they'd been hoaxed and this, that, and the other. So it's so
the best of the lads.
yeah, it's so difficult, and look, I'd be happy with any of the names that are being linked. I will be happy and I will get behind, because it's clearly the choice of the consortium. They are going to back this person to the hill. They're going to give him every opportunity and resource to be able to do the job. So whoever it is, it may not be my cup of tea, it may not have been my choice, but the way I look at it, anybody, the tea lady, the cleaner, the janitor, the grounds person, anybody would be better than Steve Bastard Bruce.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, he's gone, mate. He's gone. Ding dong. He's gone.
In terms of the man, well, the main thing is Bruce is gone for sure, and anything's an upgrade, I think. But there is a couple of names I do want to tick off this list of managers, mate, because I think Fonseca will go to Tottenham. If it weren't for a work permit last summer, he would have been Tottenham manager already. So for me, I think Fonseca will go to Tottenham. I think if it's not Antonio Conte, it will definitely be Fonseca that's
But he's cancelled. He had a speaking arrangement this evening in Lisbon, and he's cancelled that at literally the last minute. So again, speculation says that it's either for the Spurs or the Newcastle United manager's position that he's cancelled that for. So you don't cancel things at the last minute like that unless there is something major, in the offing. And you wouldn't be surprised if he could turn up at Newcastle. He could turn up at Spurs quite easily. But
yeah,
I think Conte is still, I think, their number one choice at the moment. And he's flown into London to speak to them. But like you said, Fonseca was really, we all thought he was Spurs manager in the summer as their search went on from 6th, 7th, 8th choice or whatever. But again, Fonseca ball after Bruce ball, that would be fantastic, wouldn't it?
I think for me, it's got to. I don't think Fonseca will take it, mate. Like I explained on the True Faith podcast that I went on last week, Fonseca will be a weird decision to go for. Just his style of football, mate. Like at the minute, our team's so unfit. I think the first couple of games under Fonseca will get a good hiding, to be honest. Just with like the high press football that he plays.
Yeah, the intensity of it all.
Yeah, so it'd be a weird decision, but I think it will take time for his philosophy to be put in place. Like, I think he's a manager you bring in the summer. So for me, I think Fonseca's off that list. Den Haag at Ajax, I don't think he's one. Fabregas went pretty quiet, so I don't think he'll get it. Gerrard, Lampard, I don't think they're jazz either.
I think Gerrard would jump at it, mate. I think if he was offered it, I think he would jump at it. I think Favre, he came in, he did a very similar job in Germany, didn't he?
Yeah.
He took a struggling team round. He established them, and kept them in the league, and then he went on to better things next season. So you can perhaps see how that could work at Newcastle. It's a very similar position, but again, they've not got the Premier League experience, and that's the thing you worry about, isn't it? If Mourinho was available, if Rafa was available, you would perhaps say
you might be in half an hour.
Leading candidates. Yeah, I think the Scousers are turning up outside of his house at the moment, but I think Rafa would have been fantastic. We've got a spot for Rafa.
I think if Rafa's sacked as Everton manager, I think he'll be Newcastle manager within a week. I think the consortium would abandon all plans what they've got manager-wise, and then just approach Rafa straight away because he was their number one choice. Like, Rafa's the reason Stavely was ever involved. Like, for me, Rafa would be the main one to go for. He's got the best connection with the fans and
the players, mate. He knows the players,
and he knows the majority of the players. So, for me, I think Rafa will be the first person to go for. He's got the experience, and I think Rafa will be the easiest fit because he knows the players. So, I think if Benitez gets sacked, I think he'll be Newcastle manager in a week, and they'll appoint all of his staff that he wants as well from the club. So it'll be all up in the air if Rafa gets sacked. I don't think Nuno will take the job. I think it's too short term for him. But for me, I think it comes down to the 4 names. I think Benitez, if he gets sacked, Eddie Howe, Unai Emery, and Martinez, the Belgian manager.
Yeah.
For me, I think out of the 4 of them, I think if Rafa was to become available, I think that's the best fit, short term and long term for Newcastle. So my personal choice would be Rafa out of those. But if it was to be an Unai Emery, I'd be happy with that as well because he can mobilise a team. Martinez has the experience to keep a team up. He's done it with Wigan in the past.
He's worked with Graham Jones before.
Although he's not a defensively apt manager, he could bring something out of the forward players. He did that in previous.
My worry with him, mate, I've got 2 problems with Martinez, and I know they might sound a bit petty, but first of all, his defence of that McManaman when he did Hadara and broke his leg, his defence of that, he's stock, in my eyes, dropped a lot then. And he's had Belgium's golden generation, and he's not exactly done loads, but I know that McManaman one was years and years ago when he was Wigan manager. For those of you that can't remember or haven't seen it, watch the challenge and then listen to Martinez speak after the game, and I was absolutely spitting mad at the time. Listen, if he was to get the job, I'd get behind him. It just wouldn't be my particular choice. I agree with you. If Rafa was available, Rafa would be the number 1 choice straight away.
Yeah. But yeah, if Rafa gets sacked, then I think that's the one to go for, 100%. But either that, or if they want to go for a different approach, Unai Emery would be a great choice as well. I know he didn't do great at Arsenal, but I think if he had time and backing at Arsenal, he'd be all right. So for me,
mate, the thing is, it's a similar situation to when Moyes came in after Ferguson, replacing somebody like Wenger, coming in straight away. I think is difficult. I think it was a difficult situation, but mate, the man's CV is absolutely fantastic. He's a winner. What's he won? 10, 11 cups, competitions and stuff like that.
He's won about 5 UEFA cups.
Yeah, so he's got to be in double figures, hasn't he, for trophies and stuff like that over his managerial career. So I think he's the right type of caliber of manager to bring us up to that next level and get us playing some decent football. Bringing his coaches as well. And I think I'd be very keen on him. But obviously, again, comes back to if Rafa's available. Rafa, for most of us, would be the choice. I know they say don't go back, mate, but I think with Rafa Benitez, I think he's the exception. He is the exception.
100%. So we're both going for Rafa if he gets sacked. If not, out to Unai Emery. But for sure, that's ours. Let us know yours if you're watching on my YouTube. Go in the comments, or if not, leave a comment on my Facebook from the Spotify or podcast side, however you intake this podcast. But in terms of that, mate, at the minute, that's pretty much everything. It's obviously we're in the mire at the minute. We need a new manager. We need one fast. But going into the weekend, it's obviously in the bigger picture, things are rosy. No more Mike Ashley and no more Steve Bruce, but it is going to take a long time to fix that problem. Training ground needs restored, and like a lot of things need fixed. And these new owners need time, but it's just obviously it's just a case of I feel like we've got to get this season out the way first.
Yeah, definitely. And I would say everyone as well. I know they're on social media, our new owners, but I wouldn't be bombarding them with questions or, when are we going to be told yet, or this, that, and the other. They know that the fans want to know about the new manager. They know, and from everything I've read, they are working morning, noon, and night, 7 days a week to be able to fix the mess. But this is 14 years of Mike Ashley. This is dealing with Lee Charney still. So,
yeah,
they're doing it with one hand tied behind the back. They've never run a football club before. I think they'll put fantastic executives in charge, people who will drive change and bring expectation and standards at Newcastle United, which have never been there for a long, long time. So we do. There is room for positivity. There is room for hope. Future will be better. But this is a little bit of it's a little bit like taking our medicine for the time being. But let's just pray, mate, that one night this week, hopefully shortly, that an announcement is made on the managerial position at Newcastle United. So. That would be fantastic.
It would be excellent. I hope by the time we do this next podcast next Monday night, we're there or thereabouts with it, and we've got something to celebrate with 3 points at Brighton.
3 points and a new manager. That would do nicely.
Yeah, it would do nicely, but it's just over there as well. Thanks for bearing with us as well, everyone. It's been a weird couple of weeks, trying to find my feet a little bit. As I said at the top of the podcast, every Monday now we're going to be doing the podcast. I feel Thursday is just a bit too late in the week, and not as many people as will regularly get a certain amount of years listening, and it was down from like the usual like amount. So I don't want people that listen to it regularly and like listening to miss out on a podcast. I think it's not like a good, like not relevant or anything later in the week, because we're already talking about the next game by the time that podcast was to drop. So I'm waffling at this point anyway, but it's just Monday about 10 o'clock. It'll be released every week. So stay tuned for that. But a massive thank you for those sticking with on the socials as well.
We appreciate it.
Facebook has been doing excellently. Really happy with how they've been going. Loads of people getting involved in comments and people following me and stuff. It means a hell of a lot to her over the last year or so. It's been unbelievable. Like over 20,000 across the board, which is fucking insane. I mean, numbers doesn't really matter, but when like you get
blow you away, though,
you hit little milestones like that, it's nice, and it's just a reminder that like just communicating with fans and stuff has always been the best way forward for me, and I think no regret from the past and stuff like that. But a massive thank you to everyone for sticking with me. Get your comments in, let me know how you would set up between now and January. How would you look to change the team to get it motivated to get enough points to keep winning this relegation fight before we bring in some new players? I think who we would bring in is probably one for another podcast in terms of signings and stuff. So that's probably one to watch out for. But in terms of podcasts, we'll see you next Monday. In terms of preview, I'll get one out later on the week, Paul. And then if you want, you do a review, and then we'll go from there. But podcast every Monday. Love yous and leave yous. If you've got any sign off notes, mate, or you all good?
Just as always, and I know he listens because we were on about this the other day. Keep it tuned. Totally stole him that.
Keep it tuned. See you later, everyone. Ta-ra.
See you later.